Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to get under the hood of, well, your car and see how it's gone from this simple machine to basically one of the most powerful computers you will ever own.
So where do we even begin? Let's start with a question that sounds super simple, but the answer, well, it's pretty deep. When did your car actually become a computer? And here's a hint, it wasn't when they added a fancy touchscreen.
You know, this whole tech revolution inside our cars, it didn't start with entertainment or speed. Nope, it started with the most basic thing of all, safety. Long before we were thinking about streaming music, engineers were just trying to figure out how to use electronics to save our lives in a crash.
And this timeline, wow, it really shows you what a long, hard road it was. I mean, the idea for anti-lock brakes, patented way back in 1936, but it took over 40 years and, the invention of semiconductors before Bosch could finally get a real electronic system into production cars in 1978. That's a huge gap.
So what's the big deal with ABS? Well, think about it. Before ABS, if you slammed on your brakes in an emergency, your wheels would just lock up. You'd go into this totally uncontrollable skid, and steering? Forget about it. But with ABS, these little electronic sensors are working like crazy, making sure the wheels keep rotating just enough so you can actually steer around danger. And a lot of the time, you stop shorter, too. This was it. This was the first time we really handed over a critical safety function to a computer.
So that first step, that foundation of safety, really paved the way for the massive changes that are happening right now. Let's start with what's literally at the heart of the car. Its power source. And what's wild is that we're seeing two electric revolutions happening at the same time. Think back to 2013, which really wasn't that long ago. The biggest thing stopping electric cars from taking over was just how crazy expensive the battery was. We're talking $668 per kilowatt hour. That made EVs a luxury item, for sure. But then, look at this. Thanks to some absolutely relentless innovation and just scaling up manufacturing like crazy, that cost has just plummeted. We're talking a drop of nearly 80%, down to just $137 per kilowatt hour. This right here, this is the #1 reason you see EVs everywhere now.
But it wasn't just about the cost, The early batteries, they just didn't hold a lot of juice. We're talking about an energy density of around 100 watt-hours per kilogram. So even if you could afford an EV, you weren't going very far before you had to plug it in again.
And now, check out the impact of that change. Today's batteries, they're packing in over 270 watt-hours per kilogram. We've nearly tripled the energy density. And what that means for you, the driver, is that modern EVs can go 300, maybe even 400 miles on one charge. That range anxiety thing, yeah, for most people, it's pretty much gone.
Okay, but the whole electric story isn't just about batteries. There's this whole other revolution happening with hydrogen fuel cells, especially for the big stuff, like trucks and buses. And it's serious business. The US government has set some really aggressive goals to slash the costs, basically triple the lifespan, and seriously boost the efficiency of these systems, all by 2030.
And all this focus is set to create a huge global market for hydrogen vehicles. We're talking over $130 billion by 2035. And if you look at the projections, it's the Asia-Pacific region that's really going to lead the charge, with Europe right behind, as they both pour money into building out that hydrogen infrastructure.
Okay, so the car gets a new electric heart. What's next? Well, obviously, it needed a brand new, much smarter brain. And this is what has totally transformed the dashboard from, a bunch of simple dials into this fully immersive digital experience.
And trust me, this is not some minor upgrade. The market for these next-gen digital cockpits is set to just explode. We're talking about an industry worth more than $110 billion. This is a complete reimagining of how we even interact with our cars.
So what's behind this massive boom? Well, to put it simply, your car is becoming more like your phone. It's what the industry calls a software-defined vehicle. That means the features aren't just locked in when you drive it off the lot. It actually gets better over time with these over-the-air updates. Car makers can add new functions, maybe you pay a subscription for some, and the whole thing gets personalized for you using AI. And this is all happening through big partnerships between the old-school auto giants and the new tech titans.
All right, let's recap. We've got an electric heart, we've got a digital brain. So what's the final piece of the puzzle? Well, it's maybe the biggest leap of all, giving the car its own senses, the ability to see the world, to understand it, and ultimately, to drive itself.
Now, getting to a fully self-driving car, it's not like flipping a switch. It's a journey, and it's officially broken down into these 6 distinct levels. It starts at level 0, that's a totally manual car, all you. Levels 1 and 2, they introduce some help, but you, the driver, have to be paying full attention. The really big jump comes at Level 3, where the car is actually driving itself, but only under specific conditions. Level 4 takes it up a notch, handling everything inside a pre-mapped, geo-fenced area. And then, the holy grail, Level 5. That's full automation, anywhere, anytime. You don't even need a steering wheel.
Okay, so with all that said, it's super important we take a step back and look at where we actually are today. Despite all the hype and all the headlines you've read for years, pretty much every advanced car you can buy right now is still at Level 2. So what does that mean? It means the car is assisting, but you, the human, are still 100% responsible and have to be ready to take over in a split second.
So let's pull all these threads together. We've gone from the very first electronic safety systems, to these twin revolutions in electric power, to the rise of this digital brain inside the cockpit, and now the steady march toward the car driving itself. The car has fundamentally changed. It's just not a machine for getting from point A to B anymore.
And all of this progress leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. As our cars become these true supercomputers on wheels, getting their own heart, brain, and senses, what's left for us, the driver, to do? Our entire relationship with the automobile is about to be completely redefined. What does it even mean to be a driver when the car can do it all? The answer to that is going to shape the future of how we all get around.